You know what time it is. We know what time it is. It is time for your favorite politically incorrect sports podcast. It is time for Sports Frenzy 2.0, or as Dave likes to say,
fuckity fuck.
We got it all out of the way now.
So now we're good.
We're banned. We're canceled. And we don't care. We love it. Bring it on. Bring us more. Bring us more. That's your Uncle Dave.
That's your Uncle Kev.
The Conquistador Dave Height, along with the maestro Kevin Crane. It is time for Sports Frenzy 2.0 here on December the 13th, dropping early Thursday morning, December the 14th. And as always, Dave, what do we start with?
NFL, baby.
That is right.
Bad football, bad officiating. It's a theme.
Yes, and I can't argue with that because after that 3-0 atrocity we saw last weekend.
Professional football was set back 100 years with that crap fest.
Yeah, the Vikings on a last-second field goal. Yes, a last-second field goal had to win 3-0 over the Raiders. That should tell you, as we've been saying all here through September, October, November, bad season for NFL football. But occasionally we get a glimmer of hope.
Occasionally.
No help from Tony Romo, but we'll get to that later. Looking back at last weekend's games, I told you so! I fucking told you so!
Yes, your Buccaneers came through barely. But
Mike Evans got one catch, and they still won that game because the Artie party is a sham. I told you this. I fucking told you so. Buccaneers beat the Falcons 29-25. You and I both knew that the Bengals had something going with this kid.
Yes.
This backup quarterback. They took out the Colts
easily.
And I think the Bengals will make the playoffs. That is my prediction.
They have a solid enough defense. And this kid, the running quarterback now, has that offense playing efficiently.
Yep. You still got Joe Mixon healthy. Still got Jamar Chase healthy. And now Higgins
is
and
back,
Boyd are
and
coming.
Boyd, they're getting back into the mix. So look out.
As long as Blanchard has these tools, these weapons,
they're going to be fine.
You look at the garbage that's ahead of them, the Colts, the Steelers, they should be able, them and the Bills should be able to jump in.
Slide right in.
Yep. The Cleveland Browns knock off the Jacksonville Jaguars 31-27. Old man Joe Flacco, you called it. We had our Sports Frenzy meeting this past Monday night, and you said they actually dared to put Joe Flacco back on the practice squad.
Yes.
For anybody to poach. And nobody did.
Nobody did. If for no other reason, poach him to keep the Browns out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
What are the teams in division thinking? Not doing that.
Oh, but the Steelers are okay with Mitch Trubisky.
Oh my God. That was ripe for the Steelers. I mean, come on. Seriously.
Yep.
Horrible decision by the Steelers to not go after Flacco.
I've never seen anything like it before, where a head coach declares a guy, he's going to be our starter for the rest of the year, but we're putting him on the practice squad. I've never seen anything like that in my life.
Why? They don't have the money to be able to pay him because of the bullshit guaranteed money they gave Watson.
We'll talk more about guaranteed money when we get to baseball.
Yes, we will.
Great game between the Ravens and the Rams in Baltimore. The Ravens on a punt return win 37-31. They are now in control of the AFC in terms of home field advantage.
One of those questionable officiating games where the block in the back was not called.
Oh, there were a lot. A lot. Some we would agree with the officials, some we would not. And then we talked about the debacle, the 3-0. Just unbelievable. I can't believe the Vikings are still in, technically today, the NFC playoff picture.
That was just bad, ugly, horrible.
Josh Dobbs gets benched, and now it's Nick Mullins. He's in charge.
God help him.
And we all know there have been a lot of quarterback injuries, and we'll get to that a little bit later, but wow.
Yeah.
The Vikings, I cannot believe the Vikings are going to make the playoffs on their third-string quarterback. I cannot.
I
can't.
No.
The Bills hang on against the Chiefs. Again, going back to the officiating that you brought up. Bills win 20-17 at Arrowhead.
Yep. That was the correct call on Tony. He was over.
It's obvious.
I mean,
he was a yard past where he should have been lined up.
There's no argument that
and
that
I get tired
needed to be called.
Bitching, pissing, and moaning from all these idiots who, well, the referees should have warned him because they warn him all the time.
No, they don't need.
They don't have to. They can do it if they want to be nice.
If you're a good head coach, you're going to be lined up looking down and paying damn attention to what your team is doing.
I hate that line of thought. Well, the referees do it for other players.
They
like tap their thigh to let them know they need to move back.
Oh, well, too bad, so frickin' sad.
How about you pay attention to what you're doing and you take personal responsibility? And Pat Mahomes, classless.
Who he really is.
Pat Mahomes, classless. Just like his wife, just like his brother.
I was just going to say, he's been hanging around with his wife and his brother too damn much.
And it's unforgivable.
That entitlement is freaking ridiculous.
Pathetic. That he has to come back a day later and apologize to going to Josh Allen for the traditional after-the-game handshake.
And being a pampered wuss-bag bitch.
Oh, yeah, that's a bad call. That's the only reason you beat us. Bad call. Kansas City is now becoming the team I root against, along with the Cowboys.
Yes.
Watch. That'll be the Super Bowl this year. Watch.
God help us.
Along with the halftime show with Usher. Basically, 4 hours of my life that will basically rip my insides out.
That could be a Super Bowl I would pass on.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. And Tony Romo's going to do it this year, right?
Oh, sweet God almighty. You know,
we'll
I think it's time.
No, we'll get to him.
This could be one where we simulcast it through the radio.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Sports Frenzy Super Bowl podcast. We do the commentary. We will do the commentary.
Oh, I was going to listen to the radio announcer.
No. We'll do it.
Oh,
we'll do the commentary. It would be 15 times better than anything else they could put out there. You goddamn well know it, Dave.
It would be. We wouldn't have Romo. Well, I think we should go with this call, but if they line up in this way, then maybe they should do this one. Oh, wow, I guess they should have gone with a whole different thing.
Oh, by the way, buy Skechers.
Shut up, Romo.
Well, we picked it. The Broncos continue on the roll. Going into LA, beating the Chargers, of course, a lot of it had to do with the fact that Justin Herbert, just a bad year for him. Had problems with his non-throwing hand. Now he breaks the finger on his throwing hand.
Done for the season with surgery.
The great thing about this, and I love Justin Herbert. I think he is a damn good quarterback, and he gets the right coach in there. Bill Belichick? Who knows?
Who knows?
But the best thing about this locks down in certainty. Hopefully, God help me, that Brandon Staley will be gone at the end of the year.
God.
Jesus, God, can you just get this guy out of the league?
Wreck. They're so bad.
And he has no excuse. He's got great defensive players, a great quarterback, great running back, great receivers. Yes, they've had some injuries, but for the love of God.
That team is so mismanaged, it's not even funny.
I think he lost the locker room a year and a half ago, yet they just keep rolling on with him.
Yeah, a change has got to be made for the Chargers.
Then, of course, the team that plays fantastic at home, but maybe not so much on the road.
Yep. As we picked, the Cowboys took out the Eagles Sunday night. Eagles are struggling right now.
I think they're beat up. I think this was a team that needed the bye week to fall at a different time for them.
They got it too early.
Yep. Because they really needed a week off. Really needed a week off here in this gauntlet that they had. They had the Bills, the 49ers, and then the Cowboys.
Yeah, just a rough run.
Now they head out to Seattle. So luckily the schedule lightens up a bit at the end.
Yeah, but they really need a bounce back game.
Yep. So right now they have fallen in 2 weeks from the number 1 seed all the way down to the number 5 seed.
Frightening, isn't it?
Yeah. Considering the fact the Buccaneers are ahead of them, yes.
Because the Buccaneers
are going to
be winning that trash division.
The AFC South. We're the team that wins it will probably go 7-10.
God.
When all is said and done. And then Monday night, Tommy DeVito! Tommy DeVito wins again! Tommy DeVito wins again! The Giants somehow beat the Packers 24-22, keeping their very thin, scant playoff hopes alive and really damaging the Packers' playoff hopes.
Yeah, that hurt the Packers badly.
Because now you've got a mess in the NFC. You've got a bunch of 6 and 7 teams. The aforementioned AFC South or NFC South.
Yeah.
You've got the Packers, and you get the Rams, and you got the Seattle Seahawks, and I mean, it's a clusterfuck.
Yeah, we've talked about it. It's been bad football all season. The mid-tier is beating up on each other.
Yep. Yeah, of course, the AFC has the opposite problem where you got bad teams with good records, like the Colts and the Steelers, where you just want them to go away and get the Bengals and get the Bills in, so you have a really good group of playoff teams.
Yeah.
Which could still happen, but...
Yep. And then you get to our teams, the Bears and the Dolphins. I had to work Sunday, so I missed the Bears game.
I was talking to my daughter as she introduced me to her new cat.
I'm sorry.
I did not get to watch a lot of the Lions-Bears game, but I did see the second half. I did see the Bears, God help me for saying it, dominate the Lions as they win 28-13.
Yeah. They're turning things around a little bit. We'll see how it goes.
But again, there's about 7 or 8 teams out there who have quarterback and head coach questions. And of course, the Bears are one of them. And when I say questions, I mean they don't know what the fuck to do. And I think the Bears right now are getting to that point where what the fuck do we do now?
Listening earlier this week, quarterback comps between Herbert, Mahomes,
Allen,
and there were a couple of others with Fields. Fields is right up there with them on touchdown passes, total touchdowns, down on passing yards, but blows them away on rushing yards. So his yards per game overall is right up there with everybody else's. Turnovers, he's in comparison where they're at. Nobody's thrown more picks than Josh Allen. So I think the problem is at everything. It's perception.
It's not just perception, though. It's the skewed economics of the quarterback position.
Right. That's the issue.
And the Giants, we'll get to the Dodgers later on.
Yeah. But
and how they've destroyed baseball. But when the Giants signed Daniel Jones to a $40 million contract for being a very mediocre to poor quarterback, that fucked the Bears over.
Yeah, that screwed them big
time. Because now
they get no wiggle room with Fields.
I cannot pay Justin Fields $40 million a year. I can't. But if we look at the draft, how it's shaping out to be, we get the number 1 pick. We might get the 6th, 7th, 5th pick, wherever that falls. We talked about this at our Sports Frenzy meeting on Monday night. I would prefer to draft Marvin Harrison. Aaron, my mortal enemy, was absolutely right. And he said, let's see somebody beat the Bears with DJ Moore and Marvin Harrison.
Yeah.
You've automatically got one of the best, if not the best, wide receiver tandems in the league. But who's going to throw the ball to him? Is it Justin Fields? I'm not paying him $40 million. So again, that's where the conundrum comes into play.
Right.
What do you do?
You don't take one of these. You can't. If you keep Eberflus, you can't keep Getsy as your offensive coordinator. There is a disconnect between him and Fields. Getsy will not work with Fields' talents and what he can do. That's been obvious from the get-go. Start of the year, forcing him to try and be the pocket passer, saying, don't run, don't run, don't run. All right, they opened it up a little bit. Now he is. They're looking better. I don't know what it is. If you keep Eberflus and Getsy and get rid of Fields, I don't trust them with another quarterback. I can't.
No, I agree. I don't trust the Bears from the top down with another quarterback. And everybody out there saying, take Caleb Williams. I don't want Caleb Williams. No. Caleb Williams cares about Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams has not shown me that he cares about anything other than his brand. So that's why I would take Marvin Harrison. Caleb Williams
has some talent, but he gets rattled. He does not perform very well against defensive pressure, which he is going to face in big time in the NFL.
Yeah. I still prefer Marvin Harrison at number 1 with the Panthers pick.
And get a damn center, for crying out loud.
Well, they could draft an offensive lineman, or you could take Bo Nix, you can take Michael Penix, one of those other quarterbacks that might drop back.
We'll see. We have to have a center. That is the weak link on that offensive line right
I know,
now.
But here's the thing. Here's what I'm looking at economically. Because, of course, this isn't baseball where the Dodgers can fuck over the entire sport and destroy it in fucking 2 seconds by signing the absolute worst contract ever. But we'll get to that later. You cannot go with Justin Fields unless you're absolutely sure that he is the guy going forward. Yeah. Because, again, the Giants fucked us over with Daniel Jones.
And you still don't know what you're going to get with anybody else. It's still a damn crapshoot.
Yeah, but they're cheaper. That's what I'm saying. They're cheaper.
So you can destroy another kid's career with the crap.
No, I'm saying you get a whole new regime in. That's what I'm saying.
God, here we go again. Here we fucking go again.
You're going to go with Matt Eberflus? Really? You're going to carry him over?
No. But I'm so fucking sick of this shit with the Bears.
Because the McCaskies need to sell the team. It is. The McCaskies need to sell the team because they're a terrible, toxic environment for coaches, for players. They stick with the same old, well, we'll just be tough, hard-nosed, cold-weather Bears.
You don't know what the hell you're talking about anymore up there at Hallis Hall. Get with the times.
Your Dolphins had a setback.
My God, that was an absolute freaking pathetic game out of the Dolphins. Yeah, Tyreek Hill got rolled up on a horse collar tackle that wasn't called.
Another one of those tackles.
Horrible officiating.
the tackle that they're trying to get out of the game. They're thinking about getting out of the game, where the defensive player tackles from behind and then throws all his weight onto that lower leg of the running back or the receiver.
That's the definition of a horse collar tackle. He had him behind by the shoulder pads, and it wasn't called. So, miracle of miracles, the Titans screw up late in the fourth quarter on the punt return. The guy, their returner, lets the ball bounce, then tries to catch it, muffs it. Dolphins recover, inside the 5, and they get the touchdown. Then the ensuing kickoff, they kind of have them down there on a pitch back fumble. One of those rare occurrences that you get from Tennessee. Miami recovers, they get a touchdown. They're up 14. The defense, under 4 minutes, lets up 15 points. The offense stagnates.
It was 3 and
pathetic.
Out at the worst possible time.
It was absolutely pathetic.
The streak was 767 straight games where if a team was down 14 or more points in the last 3 minutes, they lost. And this game broke that streak.
Yep. Ugh. That was so damn frustrating.
Titans come back and win 28-27, knocking the Dolphins down to the 2nd seed. Ravens now in the number 1 spot.
Yep. And it's, Miami is struggling again down the stretch. Not a good look for that team.
I will say this. I agree with what I heard from a lot of other people. Always easy to play Tuesday morning quarterback in this case.
It is. But that
team, the defense, that offense looked so different with Tyreek Hill off the field.
It did.
It looks
very
hesitant.
Pedestrian.
It looks pedestrian. They stumble, they bumble their way around. Even though you got 2 great running backs, A-Chain's healthy, Mostert's healthy, you still got Waddle possibly healthy, depending on which way the wind's blowing.
Yeah.
But
why were
still,
you not running more? Why were you trying?
And what have I told you for the last 2 years with this offense? They will not use the tight end. They got rid of Mike Gesicki.
Well,
this would have been a perfect,
this
would have been a perfect situation to have a great
tight end game.
Good to high level tight end.
Yeah, this is where you
Tyreek Hill out.
The defense, that first touchdown drive, they went into prevent mode and allowed the deep passes to take place and let them march right down the field. Vic Fangio let the defense down with those calls. And why, in God's name, did you not have your best corner
on DeAndre Hopkins?
Yeah,
DeAndre Hopkins burned them alive in the last 3 minutes.
Because Fangio would not line up correctly.
I will say this, though. Your coach is fun.
I do like him.
Of course, we had the Manning cast going on Monday night. We had 2 Monday night games. The Giants win over the Packers, and then, of course, this game with the Titans and the Dolphins, both at the same time, which I do not understand.
That was absolutely ridiculous.
Stagger the stars.
There was no reason to have 2 Monday night games late in the season.
No, but, of course, Peyton Manning texts Mike McDaniel, business like, can we get you on for 10 minutes before, the game? I know you're going to be busy. 10 minutes, that's all. You can hang up after 10. And Mike McDaniel comes back with, I'm paraphrasing, but says, well, fucking course, you're fucking Peyton Manning. He spells Peyton wrong. He puts the A in there instead of the E.
It could have been autocorrect.
Yeah, and of course, Eli said something like, well, I think he was thinking of Sean Payton, not you.
Nice.
But the Dolphins will make the playoffs, but the question here with them is, can they stay healthy?
Yeah, that's going to be the kicker.
We talked about this when I walked in. First thing you said to me when I walked into the meeting Monday night was, Jalen Waddle's hurt already.
Yeah. Yeah, what was it on the first play of the game?
Yeah.
First catch he got hit and had to leave the game for a couple plays.
Yes, there is not one player on that dynamic Dolphins offense who you do not worry about getting hurt.
Right.
Whether it's Tua, Mostert, A-Chain, Hill now, or Waddle. Hill's usually the most reliable
Hill's the most reliable. And if it wasn't for that illegal tackle, and he still came back in the fourth quarter and helped him.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought I was done in fantasy.
Yeah.
I thought I was done because when he went out, I was like, oh, my God, Bill's going to come back and beat me. And at least the few points he got me.
Yeah, the couple of receptions late.
Helped me win.
There you go.
God bless Tyreek Hill.
God bless his wife for texting him to tell him to get his ass out there and play.
Yes. All right, Dave, what are we going to have?
Spillage.
I don't even know if we're going to get to the picks yet because we got some headlines to discuss. So we'll take it for what it is.
Yeah.
Al Michaels found out, much to his chagrin, that he will not be included in NBC's playoff coverage this year.
You know, I can't say I'm surprised or disappointed.
But he says it's in his contract.
Yeah. So what?
I just find it funny that the announcement comes out and a reporter in an interview says to him, oh, by the way, how does it feel not to be included in the playoffs for the first time in decades?
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? It's in my contract. What do you know that I don't know?
Well,
We should give our props as Bears fans to the great Robbie Gould. Retires. Yep. Wished he would have been with the Bears from beginning to end.
But alas, it was not to be. Always liked Robbie Gould as a kicker.
Yep.
Mr. Consistent.
And it took them how long, how many years before they found Kyrie Santos to actually get some semblance of a decent replacement for Robbie Gould?
Yeah,
3-4 years?
What was it? They replaced Gould with Parkey?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Oh, my God. And
Mr. Triple Doink?
And he went on that women's talk show to discuss
the doink.
The doink. Yeah, doink. You're a doink.
It's a double doink.
Of course, the NFL isn't much better than baseball. And, of course, we'll get to that again later.
Oh, can we go talk international?
Oh, we got international. And we've got the 2027 Super Bowl. This shows how little the NFL cares about us as fans. The 2027 Super Bowl, I'll take this, and then Dave can take the international. Guess where the Super Bowl is going to be in 2027? Oh, Seattle? No. Minneapolis?
No.
SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles.
Again.
What a fucking shocker that is. Because we get all the celebrities.
We don't care.
Now, internationally,
in 2024, the international game is going to be played in Sao Paulo, Brazil. It came down, I guess, to Brazil and Spain, and they opted to go with Brazil. The Dolphins are currently the only team that have rights to Brazil. So they'll be playing down there. If it was Spain, the Bears and the Dolphins are the two teams that have the rights for Spain.
But again, we're screwing the American fans. Yes. And this makes me wonder if this whole expanding the schedule to 17 games wasn't pre-planned. This was pre-planned.
Oh, it was. Now we can go everywhere.
Every team, we can screw every team over and make them travel and say, well, you're still getting 8 home games. Getting 8 home games.
It's crap.
Because now the international slate will expand from 4, which I don't think is right. I thought it was more than 4 this year, but 4 to 8 in 2025.
Yeah, I'm so sick of this international crap.
We got more coming, kids, and our picks. Stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Patrick, not Pat, Mahomes, Super Bowl champion and MVP. And when I'm not trying to keep my wife and brother in line, I'm listening to Sports Frenzy on Spotify, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Apple, Overcast, Castbox, Stitcher, Amazon, and Audible. Brittany, come on, stop posting on Twitter. Jackson, will you please get off TikTok? Man, it's times like these I really miss doing stupid, silly State Farm ads with Coach Reed.
All right, kids, it's time for Spillage in segment 2 on Spotify, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Apple, Overcast, Castbox, Amazon, Audible, and iHeart Sports Frenzy 2.0, baby.
Otherwise known as iHeartRadio. Hopefully you caught all those with Mr. Speed Reader here.
Hey, you got to get through it. We have Spillage. We got to get to our picks.
Hey,
we got a
I
couple
was
more
just glad
headlines.
in our meeting Monday that your wife confirmed the fact, oh, he's got 3 books sitting there. He'll get through them all tonight or tomorrow. She's on my side. Something funky's going on with you and how many books you read. You got the Evelyn Wood thing going on.
I do not. I haven't even read a book a week this year.
Oh, my ass. You have not read 50 books this year.
No.
Oh, my ass. My ass, you have not read 50 books
I
this year.
have not.
We'll discuss this more on the weekend edition.
But it's December 13th, 2023. This will drop Thursday the 14th. Continuing on with our NFL talks. We were discussing international games.
Yep. Now, Dave confirmed that what I suspected was right. There are actually 5 international games this year, but they are expanding to 8 in 2025. Again, screwing over
the American fans.
A lot of home field crowds. And I know they give money. They'll give you money, especially Jacksonville has got this thing working like some kind of a back alley Las Vegas
Well, yeah,
scam.
they get to play 2 weeks in a row in London and stay there the entire damn time.
Right.
Screwing over the second team that they play.
And we've talked about this. I still don't understand why Jacksonville is asking for renovations or a new stadium when we know damn well they're the first team that's going to go to London if they expand overseas, which I hope never fucking happens.
We don't need that crap.
Now, we talked about Justin Herbert, finger done for the year. Bill Belichick. Now, the rumors are that after losing to the Colts overseas, nice little segue there. When they lost to the Colts overseas, that was when Robert Kraft decided he was going to part ways
at the end of this season.
With the great one. Yes. So now everybody's speculating, where will Bill Belichick go? The top 3 destinations that are being discussed are the Chargers, the Commanders, and, of course, our Chicago Bears.
The only stipulation
Do you really honestly believe Belichick would come to the Bears?
No. The only stipulation I put on him being a coach for my team, he is not general manager
He will want to be general manager.
He does not get to be general manager with the way he has run the Patriots into the ground with the personnel that he's brought in.
No. Well, number one, the Bears are not going to pay him what he wants.
Well, no, I even if you're the Chargers, do you want him making personnel decisions?
You've already got a team in place, though. That's the thing. You've already got Justin Herbert,
so
Khalil Mack.
You
don't have to make personnel decisions. Your team's already in place. With the Bears,
I still wouldn't. He would do something stupid to put his stamp on it as a GM. He should just coach at this point. And I don't even know what that.
I agree.
I don't even know if I want him coaching right now.
I'm just telling you, I have heard this is what he wants. He will want to be Bill Parcells. He wants to shop for the groceries in addition to actually managing the groceries.
Yeah, it's passed him by like it did Parcells.
But if you're the Chargers, you've already got a fight with the Rams for attention in LA. You've already got the roster set. All you have to do is re-sign Austin Eckler. You've already got Keenan Allen. You've already got Justin Herbert. You got Khalil Mack. You got Bosa. You got Derwin James. Your roster's already set. Give the idiot, the all-time greatest coach, GM power, because he can't fuck that roster up.
He would.
He can coach better.
That's
than
what I'm saying.
The moron who's in charge
That's
right
what
now,
I'm
Brandon
saying.
Staley.
Just make him the coach. Say, sorry, this is what you get. Take it or leave it. I am not giving him GM control at this point. After what you've seen the last several years.
I know where you're going. I agree with you, but what I'm saying is, if you're desperate like the Chargers are to right the ship after the idiocy of Brandon Staley,
you're going with
the Bears. We know the
GM.
Bears aren't going to sign Bill Belichick. They're going to sign the
given.
offensive coordinator from the Detroit Lions, and it's going to be a fucking train wreck again.
Once again, yes, it will. But no, not with Belichick as GM. No. I don't care what team it is.
All right.
Now, I wouldn't be surprised.
Differ on this, not as much as I think.
You know where he's going. Carolina. Tepper will give him that.
Oh, Tepper will give him everything, but that team sucks ass. Bill Belichick will not be able to turn that team around.
No, because you've got Tepper is going to be so
Tepper has
integrated.
destroyed that team because of his impulsive decisions once he took over.
Yeah.
Because we had to push the sex predator out and bring in the big, high-priced, tech guru to take over the team. How's that working out?
It's
firing Frank Reich after 12 games?
Yeah. That team is a disaster. Nobody with half a brain will go near that team with Tepper as an owner.
That's what I'm saying. Again, Belichick would be smart to go to the Chargers.
But he's got to realize he has to give up control.
Well, if he goes to the Panthers, he will destroy his legacy because he's damn close right now with what he's been doing with the Patriots.
That's what I'm saying.
That's why he's got to go to the Chargers, because he can turn that team around in 1 year.
Just head
You're
coach.
3 years away from making the Chargers respectable. 3 years. 3 fucking years.
They should have been respectable already if they would have had a decent coach to begin with.
Oh, now you're ripping on Frank Reich? I don't like that.
No, Chargers.
Well, right, the Chargers, but that's what I'm saying. Bring in Belichick, even if you give him GM rights.
God, no.
He can't fuck that roster up. It's already set.
He would find a way.
One move.
He would
re-sign
find a
Eckler.
way.
That's all he's got to do.
He would find a way. He's not going to spend the money.
The Panthers are 3 years away, even in the best case scenario. If Bryce Young somehow develops into a decent quarterback. Miles Sanders was the god-awful, stupidest signing of all time. Because now Chuba Hubbard, a career backup, is now a better running back for them than their high-priced Miles Sanders. That's why the Eagles let him go. And they took DeAndre Swift cast off from the Lions because this guy's better than what we had with Miles Sanders. Oh, my God. I could talk for hours about this shit.
It's just a screw-up. Belichick just needs to be a head coach. He's shown right now he does not have a clue on the GM front.
All right, let's move on to our picks.
All right. God, another trash Thursday night game.
Al Michaels ain't going to be happy.
No.
Al Michaels ain't going to be happy with this.
Chargers at the Raiders.
Too bad.
But it's an AFC West showdown.
Neither one of
crap
them is
fest.
even close to being in playoff contention.
No.
Both are on backup quarterbacks. And pathetically, the Raiders situation is worse because they signed Jimmy Garoppolo to a big money deal, and they told him, sit your ass down.
Bye-bye.
It's not like Justin Herbert with the broken finger.
Right. They just don't have anybody.
Yeah. Yeah, who is
Who's
starting for who's the kid starting for the Chargers? Banana McGee, what's his name? I mean, seriously, I've never heard of this kid before. I didn't hear of him in college.
No,
I don't know who the hell he is.
Where the hell did he come from?
Gasparilla Jones. I don't know who the hell he is. I know Aiden O'Connell is the but how do I even know that?
I know
he
you
sucks
don't.
ass.
This is a trash game.
Two underperforming running backs in Eckler and Jacobs. I know Jacobs is hurt, but these two were top 5 last year.
Yeah, and they are garbage.
Right.
They're not being
Adams
used.
wants out because he's not being used properly because he's got
God.
nobody to throw the ball to him. I mean, oh my God.
This is a train wreck. And of course, our picks in 6 of the 8. Raiders across the board because it's a home field advantage and we don't trust Brandon Staley.
I was waiting for that. That's what I was waiting for. We do not trust Brandon Staley. I wouldn't trust Brandon Staley to watch my cat, and I'm a fucking cat.
All right. Next up, Vikings at the Bengals.
And this is where I fall in love with the NFL because the minute college football ends, they jump on Saturday.
3 games on Saturday.
Yes!
Oh,
and what did I tell you Monday? I said, I don't understand why people buy the NFL Sunday ticket because you get 5, 6,
There's enough
7 games for free every week.
Yeah, you don't need the high-end ticket stuff.
No, we're going to get to watch 7, 8 games this weekend for free. Starting off with
the Vikings at the Bengals.
I don't understand this. I don't understand why anybody would pick the Vikings. Why in holy God's name would you pick the Vikings
Bill,
in this game?
The Big Blue W takes the Vikings. Why?
Nick Mullins coming in has not played in a full game in 2, 3 years?
At least.
He's been in and off of the injured list all year because Josh Dobbs did not turn out to be the savior.
Oh, no, wait. Sorry. Doug also took the Vikings.
It's fine. That's fine. The sane ones will rule.
Yep.
Again, in Cincinnati.
In Cincinnati, they're fine.
Again, they've got all their weapons healthy. Mixon, Chase. Bengals.
They're good.
Bengals easily.
Bengals,
easily.
You, me, the elder statesman, and Mrs. C. Oh, God. Oh, God. More trash.
I can't believe I'm predicting that the Colts will go to 8-6. That's what I can't believe.
Steelers at the Colts. Oh, my God.
And these two teams are both in the AFC playoffs right now as we do this. As we do this podcast.
God, my brain hurts.
This is, again, why I want the Broncos, the Bills, the Texans, somebody more exciting.
Please, someone.
But one of them's going to win and have the upper hand.
And do you really trust Mitch frickin' Trubisky? No.
As much as I've turned on Gardner Minshew, I will take Gardner Minshew any day over Mitch Trubisky.
And the Colts are at home. Out of the picks so far, the Colts for everyone but Mrs. C. She's going with the Steelers.
Yeah, we should mention we've got an odd mix right now as we tape.
Yep.
We've got 6 of our 8 panelists in, but usually Mrs. C waits until the last minute, which is fine.
Yep.
But
this
Aaron and Nick are late. No, Nick being late isn't a shock.
Right.
But Aaron being late is
Aaron
a
not
shock.
having them in. He's focusing on the great equalizer.
All right, the late game on Saturday. The Broncos at the Lions. Sorry, I jumped one ahead. Broncos at the Lions.
I'm going on Bronco Island, baby.
This was a tough one. This was one of the last ones that I picked.
Me too. But the Broncos have been playing so much better of late, and the Lions have looked like garbage.
I know, but the thing is, when you say the Broncos have been playing better, that's very, very subjective.
It is.
I do not think they have been playing great football. Again, you get a fantastic head coach, which is what the Bears need. Look how much Sean Payton has changed the culture, the atmosphere around the Broncos. First month, great Sean Payton. Look what has he done since the first month?
He needed that time to get that team to buy in.
I know.
Because nobody plays in preseason.
I'm backing your pickup right now is what I'm doing.
I know.
But I think at home, I think the Lions are more talented overall.
They're going.
I just think this.
They're going to Lions themselves again.
I got to go one last time with the Lions. Aiden Hutchinson will somehow rattle Russell Wilson enough.
One player is not gonna do it.
All right. Now we move on to the Browns.
The Bears go to Cleveland. Oh, God.
Bill and Jen are taking the Bears.
I want to, but they still haven't. Before I believe in them down the stretch, they need to beat a decent team with a winning record. The Lions are not that decent of a team with a winning record right now.
Yeah, now news came down today, and I'm with you. We both picked the Browns along with Sam and with Doug.
Doug did not go with the Bears. That surprises me.
News came down 2 very, very crucial injuries on the Browns defense. But it's in Cleveland, very hostile, nasty crowd for the Bears to have to deal with. And God help me for saying it, we know there are some coaches who were meant to just coach defense, coach offense, not to be head coaches. Jim Schwartz is a defensive coach, and he has got the Browns number 1 in the league
defensively
in terms of yards allowed. And even with these 2 massive injuries he's got to deal with,
they're still going to be fine.
He still has a great contingent of players in the front 7. The 2 injuries, I believe, are in the secondary. Yes, Justin Fields will do some damage, but I still think in the end, Joe Flacco, and the Cleveland Browns win this game. Probably by a field goal. That's about it.
Field goal will probably be it.
Yep.
But still, the Browns at home is the difference. Buccaneers at the Packers.
The first place Buccaneers, David. Mind your manners when you speak about my Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The first place Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Sure.
By some kind of bizarre, weird tiebreaker over the Artie Party Falcons and the train wreck that is the Saints.
Yeah.
Well, all of them 7-9.
In the trash NFC South.
Yes. Yeah. Remember last week when you yelled at me? You yelled at me and you said, the Buccaneers suck on the road. I'm taking the Falcons. And I was right, wasn't I?
Barely.
Well, guess what?
You're going against the Bucs this week.
Now we're going up to Green Bay. Now we're going up. It's not going to be the frozen tundra. It'll probably be in the high 30s, low 40s. Still, the Packers will win this game.
Yeah.
Even on a short week, they will win this game.
But we're split. The Packers for you, me, And the Big Blue W. The Buccaneers for the older statesman, Mrs. C, and Doug, the governor.
That's fine. This was an easy one.
That was easy.
Easy pick.
All right. Moving on. The Texans at the Titans.
The Texans are so beat up.
They are.
I don't know how Now, the Titans are on a short week, but
they're coming off a monster win on the road.
Yes, and it's got to pump them up. Will Levis has got to feel good about that comeback.
Yeah. At home.
The Texans, plus C.J. Stroud, even if he plays in this game, he's got to be hitting that rookie wall.
Right.
He's not used to playing this many games now. We're getting to that point.
Coming off the concussion.
With the rookie. Yes. So I think the Titans win this easily.
It's the Titans for everybody so far except Mrs. C going with the Texans.
Yes. Bill always likes to call them the Tits.
All right. Big matchup.
The game of the week! The game of the year! For this week. The
Cowboys go up to Buffalo to play the Bills. The Cowboys are not that good on the road. They've had a hell of a run of wins. It is time for them to stumble.
I couldn't have said it any better myself. You look at the record for the Cowboys on the road this year. They have lost to the Cardinals on the road. They got destroyed in Santa Clara on the road by the 49ers. The Cowboys are not the same team away from AT&T Stadium.
Correct.
And the Bills are playing for their playoff lives.
And they play well at home.
I take the Bills.
I take the Bills. Mrs. C takes the Bills, of course. There's
shocking,
a shot.
Shocking!
I know. Her homer pick.
That's fine.
That's fine.
And let the other ones go with the Cowboys. That's fine.
Yep. Split at this point, so there we go.
Yep. Sam and Bill and Doug go with the Cowboys.
Ravens at the Jaguars.
I think this is kind of an indictment on how disappointing the Jaguars have been.
It is, and without Trevor Lawrence.
Well, he's hobbled. He's still there, but he's hobbled. And I think the thing is they just have not lived up this year. They're still going to win that division because it's just trash. Next to the NFC South, the AFC South is trash. But the Jaguars were supposed to be so much better this year.
They were. They're the disappointing team.
That offense was supposed to be a well-tuned, finely oiled machine, and they have not. They've been clunking around.
Yeah, they're still not on the same page.
No. And they'll still win it, but now I'm wondering if they're still not another year away.
Could be.
And the Ravens are figuring out ways to win, which is what good teams do.
Yep, so Ravens across the board, except Mrs. C has taken the Jags.
And then Monday night, bounce back time potentially for the Eagles.
Yes, this is one that they have to have against a struggling Seahawks team.
Yep, we don't know if Geno Smith is going to play. That means Drew Lock. Kenneth Walker's been dinged up. He missed last week.
This could actually wind up. You could see some points scored in this game.
Yeah, and if the Eagles get through this one, their road for the rest of the year is pretty easy. I believe they play the Giants. It eases up a
little bit, yeah.
A couple times. Tommy DeVito! I think the Eagles can see, even though they stumbled the past couple weeks, a path to at least the number 2 seed.
Yep. So, Eagles across the board, except Mrs. C is taking the Seahawks. So
all
there
right,
you
kids.
go. Holy crap. Almost 2 frickin' full segments on the NFL.
We're going to have to keep going now. We got to talk about college football.
We do. Thankfully, there was only one game, but there's going to be spillage because of the great equalizer.
Yep, we have to give you our picks for the first round of the bowl games, but the Heisman Trophy goes to Jaden Daniels, quarterback of LSU. Again, looking at the Bears and looking how they're situated with the draft, I still think you take Marvin Harrison, number 1, and if you
and
draft
let things
5th,
drop
6th,
back
7th,
down.
I don't care. You get Jaden Daniels, you get Bo Nix, you
There's
get
enough
Michael
there. Do you
Penix.
even need to get one in the first round? Somebody's going to drop to the
No,
second
I'm not
round.
going that far. I'm not. If you're going that far, then screw it. You're committing to Justin Fields. That's the big question. But I will say, number 1, I'm taking that Panthers pick. I'm drafting Marvin Harrison because, again, the Big Easy said Monday,
you need another top receiver.
as the Big Easy said Monday, defy the league to beat DJ Moore and Marvin Harrison.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Yep. Now here locally, of course, Notre Dame. Sam Hartman is officially skipping the Sun Bowl.
Yep, to prep for the draft.
If you're not in the top 4, if you're not Washington, Michigan, Alabama, or Texas, everybody else is quitting and skipping out on the drafts.
Yep.
So, and Sam Hartman is delusional to think, I don't think he's even in the top 6 or 7 in the quarterbacks. No,
not the way. He cannot play on the road.
No, I think this is a bad mistake on his part.
He needed the bowl game
and he could have
bolster his stock
very well. He could have put up some fantastic numbers against Oregon State, and now I think this hurts him. I think 4th or 5th round pick at best.
Yep.
At best. Sorry, I'm not trying to be Notre Dame cynic here.
No, Hartman was not impressive down the stretch.
His old coach at Wake Forest, after he played them and Notre Dame beat them, said, I don't understand what all the hype is about Sam Hartman.
Yeah, he's okay.
Yeah.
Just okay.
Yeah. Speaking of just okay, Tyler Van Dyke is leaving Miami to play at Wisconsin. Because, of course, we know the Badgers are known for that dynamic passing game.
Yeah.
But, of course, Notre Dame
brings in Riley Leonard from Duke. We'll see. Not a bad quarterback, but, again, you're going down a mediocrity road.
I agree. You're going down a safe, mediocre road. And I was going to say,
you got a game manager who can come up with a decent play from time to time.
Well, I was going to say, as I was talking about my guy from Miami, Tyler Van Dyke, going to Wisconsin, you guys bring in the wide receivers coach from Wisconsin, Mike Brown, because, again, Wisconsin is so well known for that dynamic passing game.
Good Lord.
I don't want to rip on Notre Dame, but
that's not a good move.
They never make that dynamic move to try to change things up. They're always. It looks like they're happy.
Good for defense.
They're happy with 8-4, 9-3, and they're going to cruise with that, And I hate that for your team. I hate it for my team because my team's basically the same way right now. We're both trying to get to a decent bowl game at 8-4, 9-3. How about we strive for excellence? And if we don't get it, we fall flat on our goddamn faces
and deal with it.
Yes. But for the love of God, try. Stop settling for mediocrity. Look at Brian Kelly. He's got a Heisman Trophy winner, despite the fact he has no defense.
Yeah.
At least he's got that to hang his hat on.
See, now, for Notre Dame, I wouldn't have put the blame on the receivers coach. I put the blame on the offensive coordinator.
And of course, we're not going to try to keep up with the transfer portal.
Oh my God, the 1,500 players.
But in terms of players going to the pros, it's official now. Drake May from North Carolina is going pro. Yep. Jesus, holy mother of God, Chicago, stay the fuck away from him.
Take another North Carolina quarterback.
Stay away from him and Caleb Williams. And then who was the offensive lineman from Notre Dame? Joe Alt?
Joe Alt, their junior offensive tackle.
Which, again, going back to our buddy, one of our panelists, the Big Easy said that's who the Bears are targeting with their second pick. They're looking at keeping Justin Fields, going Marvin Harrison and Joe
an
Alt.
offensive. Alt is not a bad pickup. Did not allow a
if
sack.
you're going to commit to Justin Fields, that's perfect
fine.
to me. I'm fine with that.
If you're going to commit.
But I'm not sold on Justin Fields. So that's where I lie. Sorry. But I'd rather go Marvin Harrison, Penix, Nix. Need some new blood in there. Need new coaches. Need new front office. Need new ownership! But the great equalizer is here.
Yes, more spillage for the NCAA.
Our picks, first round of the bowl games coming up in segment 3, kids. We will be right back.
Hello, friends. Are you tired of the boring sports analysis you get from the major outlets? If so, join the Maestro and the Conquistador for a riveting discussion of all sports topics on Sports Frenzy 2.0. Available on Spotify, Google, Apple, and wherever podcasts are available.
All right, kids, segment 3 here, Sports Frenzy 2.0. It is December the 13th, 2023. This will drop early on the 14th. That's your Uncle Dave.
That's your Uncle Kev.
The Maestro and the Conquistador on your favorite politically incorrect sports commentary podcast. It is time for the Great Equalizer!
That is what we have called the bowl season in our football picks.
Because it will always
screw you somewhere.
Sort things out, screw you. Even though I have a 10-game lead right now in football picks over Sam and Bill, the Great Equalizer, like Godzilla will come in, stomp Tokyo or stomp the Maestro's ass and somehow find a way to screw me over. But I will say, this first round, I think there's a lot of simpatico picks. I think we're pretty much on the same page with a lot of these. First,
there's a few hiccups here and there between this top 4. I know I'm 16 back.
Yeah, but like you said, you're gaining ground on the other on
gaining
Bill and
ground
Sam.
on Bill and Sam. So
yes.
That's where I'm at.
Yep. So we start off with Saturday, December the 16th, the Myrtle Beach Bowl. Legendary bowl. The history of the Myrtle Beach Bowl. Oh my god.
Oh my god. Yeah,
anyway,
nobody really cares.
Georgia Southern versus Ohio. Georgia Southern is coming in
on a horrible run.
Yeah, somehow they're favored by 3.5. How does that happen?
They have played awful down the stretch.
Yep. Somehow Sam and Doug think they're going to win this, though. Again, 6 of our 8 panelists.
I have picked against Ohio a number of times, and it's bitten me in the ass. So, going with Ohio, which will probably kill me this time.
Well, I'm going down with you because I'm taking Ohio as well. So is Bill and Jen. The New Orleans Bowl, Jacksonville State. Kudos to Jacksonville State for getting in again with these stupid-ass rules and regulations.
You have to be 3 years.
Because they just jumped up to Division I.
Yep.
Jacksonville State versus Louisiana. Of course, they used to be University of Louisiana Lafayette.
Yep, the Ragin' Cajuns.
Yep.
Normally, I like the Ragin' Cajuns, but they're off this year. I like Jacksonville State.
You and I and Sam going with Jayville. Bill and Jen and Doug going with Louisiana. So split 3-3 so far.
Yep.
The Cure Bowl. Miami of Ohio. Not Ohio. Miami of Ohio versus Appalachian State. And we've picked App State a lot this year.
We have. I like that conference. It's tougher than the MAC.
I do too. Yep.
And that is why I'm taking App State.
I absolutely couldn't have said it better myself, my friend. I like that conference. I like the competition that they have been fighting back and forth all year. You and I go with App State. So does Sam and Jen.
Yep. Bill and Doug with Miami, Ohio.
The New Mexico Bowl. Oh, my God. New Mexico.
Gee, New Mexico State and Fresno State. Which way are we all going? I think it's a home team game for New Mexico State across the board.
They're the better
They
team.
are the better
They are the
team.
better team. It doesn't, I mean, Fresno State's not like jetting across the country.
No.
But, yeah.
But, no, New Mexico State's the better team.
But much better team. All right, here we go.
This was a tough one.
Well, the pundits, the experts in the LA Bowl, sponsored by some dumbass celebrity in how, I think it's Gronk this year.
Oh, God.
Last year was Jimmy Kimmel. I think this year is Gronk sponsoring the LA Bowl. UCLA and Boise State. And I give it all up to you. You were the one a month ago who said, watch out for Boise State. The coaches changed. I was like, what? What? The coaches changed?
Yes.
And they have been on a fucking roll ever since.
They have.
They have obliterated everybody in their path since they changed that voice in the locker room. And who does UCLA have in the locker room? The same old voice. Chip Kelly, who has not taken the UCLA Bruins above mediocre to okay.
Yeah, he has not done for them what they had hoped.
No, and I don't care if it's in their home territory.
No.
I'm taking Boise State.
Boise State for me, for the Big Blue W, and for Jen.
And me.
Yep, yeah, you said you took them.
Yep.
So, UCLA for Sam and Doug.
And then finally, Independence Bowl for Saturday the 16th. California at Texas Tech. I just don't like Cal.
There's something there that they just...
I know Texas Tech will put up points. They always have a dynamic offense.
The Big 12 is better than the Pac-12.
Yeah, I like that as well. As a train of thought, a chain of logic. Yes.
So, Texas Tech for you, me, and Sam and Doug. Cal for Bill and Jen.
Moving on to Monday the 18th. What the hell is this? The famous Toastery Bowl. What the hell is this?
Toastery? What is Toastery?
I have no idea. What is that? Is that a place where you go to get toast? You overpay for toast? You walk in and say, give me 2 pieces of toast.
I want some raisin toast. I want some strawberry toast.
That'll be $15,
I want some
please.
cherry toast.
That'll be $20, please. This sounds like a West Coast
bullshit
chain that, like the new the Cosmics, like the new McDonald's chain.
God help us.
The famous Toastery Bowl features Western Kentucky and Old Dominion, about as far away from a West Coast pretentious namby-pamby chain as you can get.
I need to find out. What the fuck is famous Toastery?
All right, that being said, I like Western Kentucky a little bit. This is a tough one for me to pick. I like Western Kentucky a little bit more. I think they're a little bit better on offense, but this was a very close pick for me. I'm taking Western Kentucky. So is Bill. So is Jen and Doug. You and Sam.
Me and Sam are taking Old Dominion. Looking at numbers, offensive numbers, and everything else. Ball control.
I still want to know what the famous toaster is. Dave's working on that as we move on to Tuesday, December the 19th.
That's not where I wanted to go. FamousToastery.com.
Now this one has the biggest point spread of this early run of bowl games. The Frisco Bowl. University of Texas San Antonio versus Marshall. Marshall. We do have a couple Marshall picks, believe it or not, even though they are on the short end of a 13-point spread. UTSA favored by 13, so that means the sane people here, me, Dave, Sam, Bill, take UTSA. Jen and Doug take Marshall.
The toastery with the mostery. Let's just say we saw this all-day breakfast thing years ago. We get that sometimes you want a burger or salad to start your day, an omelet for lunch, or brunch any day of the week. Here you can have it all whenever you want it. Well, at least until we close. That's from famoustoastery.com. Let's see. Where are their locations?
And how much does it cost for an omelet?
We're closer than the Famous Toasteries. They are all over. They're in Maryland, Virginia.
East
Coast?
Really?
Lots in the North Carolina area.
Really? That's
Look at
Waffle House territory.
Look at that.
What are you
Between
talking
Virginia,
about?
North Carolina.
Oh my
Look
God.
at that cluster of them.
Oh my God. That's Waffle House territory.
That's Waffle House
They
territory.
are trying to move in on the Waffle House. I will not have this. This will not stand.
South Carolina, North Carolina. Holy crap, they're right on the border.
Oh my God. We've got the Famous Toastery versus the Waffle House.
Wow.
I would have swore that was a West Coast thing.
So would I. But there you go.
Oh my God, they're moving in on the Waffle House.
High-end waffle. Now, let's hang on. You asked, let's see, do we have menus? The all-important. See, kids, we're more than just sports. We're here to inform you.
We're just trying to have fun.
Oh, specialties. Holy
Mimosa?
crap,
They got booze! They've got booze! I see mimosa!
They've got flights of mini mimosas.
I just saw mimosa pop up, and I was like, they got booze!
Irish coffee. They got all-day breakfast. Okay.
So they're better than the Waffle House.
They are. They got
booze.
booze. Oh, of course they don't have prices.
No, of course, that means they're pretentious and expensive.
The avocado omelet. Fresh avocado.
That
tomato,
tells you right there.
Bacon,
They're pretentious.
with chopped bacon and Parmesan wrapped in 3 eggs. The blah, blah, blah
But again,
omelet
no
build
prices.
your own. No prices. Hang on, let's see. They have to have prices, right?
Dave's going to order. Dave's going to put an order in down in Charlotte.
All right. Virginia, North Carolina, North Carolina, North Carolina, North Carolina, North Carolina, North Carolina, North Carolina.
Anything in
South
Savannah?
Carolina, North Carolina, South Carolina, South Carolina.
We'll get Cass down there in Savannah.
Nothing in Savannah.
Nope.
They got like 3 in Charlotte, 1 in Concord. We're going to have to go to a NASCAR race.
I was going to say. Wow.
Roanoke, Virginia. Warrenton, Virginia. So there you go.
We'll continue our food research later.
26 locations in the tri-state area.
Sounds like all in Virginia and Carolinas.
Yep. Virginia and South Carolina, North Carolina, the tri-state area.
All right.
All right.
Moving on to Thursday, December the 21st, the Boca Raton Bowl.
Before this goes further off the rails.
It's not off the rails. This is what we do. This is if we find out something that we need to research while we're doing this, we're gonna do it. God damn it! It could be waffles. It could be porn. We're gonna do it. The Boca Raton Bowl, South Florida versus Syracuse. Now you would think this is kind of a home game for USF. They're not that good. They're just not that good. Now,
No.
Syracuse doesn't inspire a lot of confidence in me either.
They don't. But
This is really
Syracuse
a
has
bad
better
bowl, a trash bowl.
This is awful. That being said, Doug's taking South Florida. The rest of us are taking Syracuse.
Yep. Friday, December the 22nd, the Gasparilla Bowl. I just like to say Gasparilla.
Bartender, give me a Gasparilla.
Yes, it sounds like we're in Tombstone. I'm waiting for the Clanton boys to come in.
Give me a
challenge me
Gasparilla.
to a shootout. Give me a Gasparilla before I go to Tombstone.
All right.
Georgia Tech and UCF.
God, I don't like Georgia Tech.
I know. I'm with you. I don't either. But I could see
They've
this one.
won some games.
This one could bite us in the ass. They played better towards the end of the year. I just think UCF is better offensively. Maybe I'm stuck in the past and thinking about Georgia Tech and that option offense they've always run. I know they've kind of gotten away from it, but
they've changed. I still don't trust them.
I know
they got a couple signature wins, but still.
Yep.
UCF for you, me, Sam, and Bill. Georgia Tech for Jen and Doug.
Now, this is where we're getting to the point where I think we're all in agreement because the point spreads are large. These games are pretty obvious in terms of who to pick. Saturday, December the 23rd, the Birmingham Bowl, Duke and Troy. We've already talked about the fact Duke does not have their starting quarterback. He's out. He's transferring to Notre Dame. Troy has had
one hell of a year.
Yes.
This is their time to cap off a fantastic season.
Yeah, I agree completely. But Mrs. C does not.
Nope, she's taking Duke.
Everybody else taking Troy. I am going out on an island.
Island boy.
The Camellia Bowl. Arkansas State and NIU, Northern Illinois. Why are you guys so enamored with Northern Illinois? I can't figure it out.
They tend to play well in the bowl games.
Now, I have noted with the point spread, this has gone back and forth.
Yeah, this is a borderline.
This has gone back and forth about 1.5 in favor of either team over the last week. Back and forth.
I like Northern Illinois' history.
No, I looked at the numbers. Arkansas State is the pick here. All you mooks can go with Northern Illinois. That's fine.
All right, we'll see where it winds
up. I'm taking Arkansas State. Everybody else takes Northern Illinois. The Armed Forces Bowl. Hey, Air Force. What are they doing in the Armed Forces Bowl?
How did they get there? Playing number 24, James Madison. Thank God the NCAA pulled their heads out of their asses and allowed James Madison into a bowl
along with Jacksonville State. Yep. Those two teams were not supposed to be in any bowl game.
No, but because all the other conferences were trash, nobody could get up to meet the minimum
6-6 teams. So yes, agreed. Thank God Jacksonville State, worthy. James Madison, obviously ranked, worthy.
Yep. Now, James Madison's head coach hired by Indiana.
Yes.
But still, they are a better team than Air Force.
I was not going to go into the weeds on all that crap with which quarterback.
You can't. Between the coaches and the transfer portal, everybody's effed except for your Final Four teams.
Just pick the team that was better throughout the year. You got to figure the backup coaches, the backup quarterbacks are going to be fine.
Yeah.
The system should be in place for them to at least play relatively up to the level they had through the year.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm going with James Madison. The only dissenting voice is, of course, Jen.
Yep, she's going with her heart on this, with her dad having been in the Air Force. But still, the elder statesman even takes James Madison.
Yep.
So there you go.
Now, this one is a point spread that shocks me.
The point spread on this was insane.
This is our final bowl game for our first week of the Great Equalizer. The Potato Bowl. Utah State and Georgia State. All the numbers, everything I looked at, all the research I did said this should be an absolute knockdown, drag-out, blowout. Yet Utah State is favored by 1 point.
I don't get it.
No. Across the board, we are all taking Utah State. And it really, Georgia State is coming in on, a 5 or 6 game losing streak?
Yeah.
They backed their way in to a bowl.
They started strong.
Yeah.
And then they tanked the rest of the season.
Yes. I don't understand how it's only 1 point.
I don't either.
Utah State should win this game.
Boggles the mind.
Easily. All right. Moving on to other sports. Yes, we will have a fourth segment Will be a short one, but we're going to have a fourth one.
Because we're probably going to finish up here with baseball.
I think we save that for the fourth.
Okay. All right. Let's get the ancillary stuff out of the way.
We need to give that enough time because we're going to have a lot to talk about with baseball.
All
Let's
right.
go to NASCAR.
Hey, Cody Ware's been reinstated in the Cup Series.
I didn't even write that down.
Whoop-de-friggin-do.
Give two ripped shits about that. I'm boggled with the fact, and we talked about this about a month ago. It boggles my mind that A.J. Allmendinger is going back to Xfinity full-time with Caleb Racing. I just don't understand. How do you make the Cup Series interesting when you have your 17th or 18th place driver say, I can't win a championship, I'm going to drop back down to the minor leagues? I don't like it. I think it's terrible.
It's a horrible precedent.
We can call this a theme because once we get
precedent.
to baseball and once we get to basketball, we can start talking about how all these sports are trying to self-destruct.
Yes, they are.
And the fact that A.J. Allmendinger is quitting Cup already, I think it's pathetic. I think it's awful. I think it sets a terrible precedent.
Bad dynamic.
Now, meanwhile, you have another road course warrior, Shane Van Gisbergen, who says he's going to run 30 or 40 races next year, but he's going to split it between the three different levels.
Yeah.
So what good does that do anybody?
It doesn't. He's not running for anything except wins on road courses.
Right. He's
going
to
gain
jump
experience.
Between the trucks.
He probably wants to get more experience on the ovals and the trucks and Xfinity as well.
But I just don't like
Just commit. Just freaking commit.
You got to realize that the Cup Series is the ultimate championship in racing because you have to prove yourself on all different types of tracks. And you just don't quit like A.J. Allmendinger. Don't quit. You get better at super speedways. You get better at intermediate tracks.
You get better at the short tracks.
Don't quit. I hate that. I hate it. What are you going to say, Tony Stewart?
I was going to bring in Tony Stewart. He is going to run full-time Top Fuel on the NHRA circuit as his wife, Leah Pruitt, begins to start their family.
Yep.
So she wants a baby. Tony's got to give it to her, and he's got to take the ride to make sure everybody's safe.
Yeah, Tony, for all the stories I've read about him over the years, it's shocking. Shocking
that
to me
he committed to one person.
Now that he is a family man,
Yep. You got to settle down at some point, I guess.
Yep. I mean, it's cool, but it's just not, it's out of character for the Tony Stewart that I've come to expect over the last 25, 30 years.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. Good for him.
Good for him. So it's the team that he owns, owner, driver in that Mopar Top Fuel.
Yep. Now, I don't normally like to bring up sponsorships because in the end, I don't give a rat's ass who's sponsoring who. But I was kind of sad to see Hunt Brothers Pizza leaving Stewart-Haas. Of course, they had been with Kevin Harvick
for a long time.
He retires, and now they completely ditched Stewart-Haas, and they're going to Penske, and they're going to be on Joey Logano's car now. So, again, I know it's a business, but the big sponsors like Miller Lite, I always think of Rusty and Brad Keselowski and maybe Kurt Busch. I know Hunt Brothers isn't necessarily up at that level.
No.
But
yeah, there's some
Smithfield and Eric Almirola.
There are some sponsors that just have stuck with
right
an owner and their drivers forever.
Right.
Budweiser was with Hendrix for so long.
Yeah.
And then they sponsored Junior for DEI.
Who do you think of when I say Coors Light?
Coors Light, Sterling Marlin.
Thank you. Finally.
You go Coors, Bill Elliott.
Right. But Coors Light Silver Bullet was Sterling
Marlin. Peak
You know,
antifreeze.
I don't know.
Kyle Petty.
What the hell does that one come from? You have to pull the most obscure one out of Peak Antifreeze? Are you kidding me?
Along with Mellow Yellow.
Oh my God. See, now you're just playing games with me. You're not even picking the easy ones. McDonald's, Bill Elliott.
Yeah.
That's an easy one. Peak Antifreeze? Are you kidding me?
I'm going to
You throw that one at me?
You want to go back even further?
See, this is what you're
Do you
doing.
wanna
You're
go
trying
back
to embarrass
further?
me on the podcast.
Piedmont Airlines.
Oh, well, I know who that is. Not.
Terry Labonte.
See, you're just trying to embarrass me now. Anything from like 92, 93 on, I'll get you.
Okay.
But yeah. Unbelievable. Camel cigarettes. Who was that?
Jimmy Spencer.
Oh, shut up, Dave! Shut up! Oh, did you hear the ongoing saga, by the way, of the Winston Cup Museum? Remember we talked about the fact that they were shutting that down?
Vaguely.
We talked about the fact that little small Winston Cup Museum, because of the fact they called it the Winston Cup Museum, you know, the big cigarette tobacco
the J.R.
company.
Reynolds Winston brand cigarettes.
Right. Well, now the museum, as they're closing down, getting ready to close down, put out a video, I think, on Facebook, and now the tobacco company is ripping on them and suing them again, saying, you disparaged us in this Facebook video when you discuss the closing of the museum, because you're implying that we are evil and nasty for forcing you to close down the museum. God, I love this world. God, I love this world so much.
Not.
Who sponsored the Frosted Flakes car?
God, now I'm drawing a blank on that one.
I don't know. I just made it up. I almost said Lego My Ego. I don't know. I'm just making stuff.
No, Kellogg's, it would have been Terry Labonte.
Oh, shut up, Dave! God damn it, you're right. I know you're right on that, too. Because he had the cornflakes.
Yeah,
just
so they would have put the Kellogg's.
Not the Frosted Flakes, but he had the cornflakes.
Kellogg's, they would have put everything through.
God damn it, I hate this. So much I hate this. All right. Let's move on to basketball in the last couple minutes. My Magic are still playing very well, 16-7, although your Celtics are still the best team in the East. The in-season tournament, the first ever, is done, Dave.
Jesus, and of course they made sure that the Lakers won it.
Yeah, don't tell me it's not fixed.
Oh, and we're going to put up a banner because we won the first cup.
Yeah, how pathetic is that? How pathetic is that?
God.
We didn't put up a banner.
That's stupid. Nobody cares about the in-season tournament. It's a dumb idea.
Meanwhile, the league is falling apart because the Spurs have lost 17 straight now, and the Pistons have lost 20 straight. Draymond Green punched a player in the face last night. He's already been ejected 3 times.
He has been suspended indefinitely now.
And if you watch the video, it wasn't even close. It was obviously
he turned around
intentional.
It wasn't an accident.
Keep in mind, kids,
crap.
The season is 23-24. We're not even done with 2023 yet. He's been ejected 3 times already.
The most in a season for anyone. And he still only trails Rasheed Wallace in ejections over the course of Wallace's entire career. And Wallace's ejections were not as egregious as what Green has done and continues to do.
Speaking of ejections, the fans in Chicago were not happy. Nikola Jokic of the Denver Nuggets got tossed in the second quarter playing the Bulls in Chicago, saying to the referee, Call the foul, motherfucker! But here's the thing. Chicago has the second highest Serbian population outside of Serbia.
Yes.
In the world
to see their boy play.
I believe it was Serbian Appreciation Night or something like that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I believe it was. And they tossed Jokic in the again.
We've seen more egregious stuff. We've heard them say more things to officials.
And when you've got players like LeBron James who say, I'm not going to play in Memphis, I'm taking the night off, when Jokic actually plays in Chicago, and then you toss him in the second quarter so the fans can't actually see the two-time MVP, how stupid is that for your fucking game? Marketing your fucking game.
It's a travesty.
Fourth segment coming up, kids. Dave and I will be right back. Feeling mildly fatigued? Need a day off even if you just took one a few days ago? Make $30 million a year but just don't want to work for it? You need to join the NBA Load Management Club right now. When they're not napping or texting, guest lecturers Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving will describe foolproof ways to earn tens of thousands of dollars by not doing anything. Sports Frenzy 2.0, available on Spotify, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Casts, and wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, is currently negotiating with LeBron James to bring his popular How to Make the Hall of Fame Without Really Trying webinar live and in person to the Load Management Club. Thanks again to Sports Frenzy 2.0 and all you apathetic fans out there for making us a success. I don't know why I promised to myself when we started this whole debacle this week that I was not going to yell and scream and I was going to try to keep everything together, and it's gone exactly 180 degrees from where I thought it would. It does every week. This whole week in sports has pissed me off. And here's the problem. Now we're going to have to do the weekend edition, of course, coming this Saturday morning for you kids. Your awesome, as always, Saturday morning hangover cure. I already know that's going to be negative because better. I don't think I'm going to have a positive review about anything this goddamn weekend. Maybe that's why I'm in a bad mood. Is because I listen to all this music and these movies, watch these movies, and nothing made me feel better. And now we got to talk about baseball here in a minute, where the sport I grew up with, the sport I love, is now done. It is over and done. Now, wait, before we get there,
fiscally stick a fork in it.
Still got a couple things left to talk about with basketball. The Washington Wizards, along with the Capitals, are going to move to Northern Virginia. So, technically, moving out of the D.C. area, can't fault them for that. Who wants to
be there?
Yeah.
Gee, is that a precursor to what the Commanders are going to be doing?
Or is the D.C. area going to overpay now to keep the Commanders in that whole D.C. metro area? Now, something else we talked about, again, negative, leading into baseball, because why not? A couple months ago, we thought that maybe the people of Oklahoma City would be smart.
Oh, God.
We thought that maybe they would not fund this brand new stadium for the Thunder. Well, guess what, Dave?
The people voted, let's fund the stadium and keep the Thunder. Dirt.
71% in the vote. 71% voted to put in the 1% increase in the sales tax for 6 years to help fund a new stadium for the OKC
And it's
Thunder.
not just going to be 6 years. It's going to go on and
You
on.
know they will at the last minute
find a way
to continue it. They'll find another reason why. Well, it won't be for the Thunder now. It'll be to help stray animals. It'll be help the homeless. It'll do this. It'll do that. We'll just keep it going in perpetuity.
Yeah,
Government will fuck you over no matter what you think.
Put in a tax, it doesn't go away.
No. Jesus God. Now we got to move on to fucking baseball.
Fuck the Dodgers.
Fuck baseball because they have no rules in place for this idiocy.
It's so bad. Shohei Ohtani signs with the Dodgers. 10 years, $700 million. 680 deferred until after he's done playing.
Let's break it down for you, kids. For the next 10 years, Shohei Ohtani will get $2 million a year. And then, of course, after that, from 2034 to 2043, he will get $68 million a year. And, of course, I'm listening to these geniuses. Keep in mind, again, Dave and I are smart people with college degrees who know what the fuck we're talking about. But I'm listening to these idiots. Well, I heard that the Dodgers really don't have to pay him $700 million. That's not how it works. They really don't have to pay him about $540 million.
No,
you fucking idiots!
Morons!
That they have to pay him the full amount of money. You're talking about the fact that the dollar value, due to inflation, due to the loss of value in the actual U.S. dollar, in real terms, will be less valuable.
The deferral also has to include interest, doesn't it?
No, but the money they have to put in the escrow account.
Yeah, they have to put in $44 million a year into escrow to make sure that they can pay him.
Right, but
from
you
there
wonder.
on.
That's the one. That's the thing where people should question it.
Why are they not? Why does that not get included?
No. You wonder why aren't they putting $68 million into the escrow?
You would think
because the interest over the next decade
is going to cover the remainder.
Right. So that amount they have to put in escrow will increase every year over the next decade until the final year will be almost $68 million. But they get interest, kids, on that escrow account now. And again, this is why in real dollar value, they are not paying him $700 million. They are paying him $700 million.
But not really. Not out of their coffers.
Let me tell you a couple other things about what the Dodgers are doing, if you're interested. Because this isn't the first deal here in the last few years that the Dodgers have deferred. Mookie Betts has a total of $115 million deferred on his current deal. He will get paid from 2033 through 2044, beginning at $8 million, escalating to $11 million. Freddie Freeman,
deferred,
$57 million from 2028 to 2040, from 4 escalating to $5 million. Here's the kicker. You're going to love this. In 2043, the Dodgers will owe $79 million combined to Mookie Betts and Shohei Ohtani. At that point in time, Mookie Betts will be 50 years old. Shohei Ohtani will be 48.
This kind of puts Bobby Bonilla Day in perspective, doesn't it?
It all is on July the 1st, too. It's all on July the 1st. Yes, this will knock Bobby Bonilla Day right off the front page.
This will become LA Dodger Day.
I would just like to point one more thing out before we move on to railing on the Dodgers even more.
Well, don't we want to mention the supposed opt-out? It's
which just came out the
fully
last couple
guaranteed
hours.
Money, no trade clause, but Ohtani can opt out if either the owner is no longer with the Dodgers or the president of baseball operations. If either of those two move on during the contract, he has the opportunity to opt out.
So we mentioned that he's getting $2 million, right? Shohei Ohtani is getting $2 million in the upcoming season with the Dodgers. I would just like to point out one final thing. In 2024, for the Cincinnati Reds, in deferred money, Ken Griffey Jr. is getting $3.6 million. So Ken Griffey Jr. is going to get paid more this upcoming season than Shohei Ohtani. This is going to destroy baseball. I don't care what you fucks think. You Yankee fans, you Met fans.
This ruins
You are trying
everything.
to destroy baseball. All you want is the West Coast and the Northeast. You don't give a shit about the rest of the country. And now it's proven more so than ever. Because there needs to be a rule in place for this kind of bullshit. You cannot leverage your future 20 years in advance for this kind of garbage at these exorbitant rates.
It's absolute irresponsible behavior.
Oh, but why would we think Rob Manfred, of all people, would step up and do something fucking responsible? Because I can tell you right now, and I can't speak for Dave, I could give two shits about baseball now. I don't care what the Cubs do in the next 2 months. I could give two rip shits about baseball from here on out.
You know where I am on baseball this year. I'm done. Not only for this.
Why would I care
my
about
own
watching
team.
the goddamn Dodgers tear apart the National League? Why would I care? Why would I care about watching that?
That is why the NFL has the best model where they have a hard cap, a hard floor, and they promote no guaranteed contracts for the most part, unless you're stupid.
Watson.
Unless you're stupid. But the NFL has the best business model where a team can go from the bottom to the top within a year or two.
If they're
by
smart,
free agency, if they're smart within the salary cap. That's why players are released, let go. There's movement. It makes competitive sense.
You can sign somebody and make a mistake and sign them to a dumb contract, but it doesn't destroy your franchise. It penalizes you. You do get dead cap money, but it doesn't destroy the franchise.
Like something like this will do.
Oh, no, this won't destroy the Dodgers.
Well,
that's the whole
that's
fucking
the
problem. They will get to go on in perpetuity and push the money back.
How can you leverage yourself that far out over and over again? At some point, there has to be consequences.
That's the problem with baseball. And that's why right now, as of this moment, 10/21 on December the 13th,
baseball is dead to us.
That's what I'm saying. Baseball is fucking dead to me. It doesn't matter about the Cubs. Doesn't matter who they sign to me. Baseball is dead to me because you cannot allow this kind of bullshit to go on and expect to have a competitive league. You cannot. And I don't want to hear the West Coast and the Northeast go, well, we're just better than you. We're just smarter
you have
than you.
Stupid-ass owners with more money than any normal person should be allowed.
I will not watch a single fucking game of baseball next year. I didn't watch much last year because I'm not paying the Cubs for the marquee network. So guess what? That's not a huge proclamation on my part. But I sure as fuck now don't care. I sure as hell don't care. For me, the Texas Rangers are the last true champions. After this, I don't give a shit anymore. I don't give two ripped shits anymore. And if Dave Roberts somehow, because he's an idiot and can't manage a team, now they're going to hand him the greatest team in the history of mankind because they deferred money to the point where Mad Max will be the general manager in 21-22 and still be paying Shohei Ohtani. I don't give a shit anymore. Sorry.
You better now?
No, not really. But the Orioles are for sale.
Oh, there's a shock.
The Carlyle Group's David Rubenstein is supposedly going to buy the Orioles from the Angelos family. And supposedly the Camden Yards lease, they got a deal that's close with that. And the Orioles were a great story last year.
Yeah.
But again, how are they going to compete with this crap?
They can't.
You know, they just signed Craig Kimbrell, what, $13 million? And that's their big signing?
That's overpaid.
That's their big signing.
That is an overpayment. Kimbrell should not be allowed to pitch anymore.
Yeah, he's burned both our teams.
He's not good anymore.
No. Of course, the Yankees, before the Shohei Ohtani deal broke, thought they were the rulers of the offseason, trading 5 players for Juan Soto and Trent Grisham, but they have to sign him.
Right. And he's in no hurry to sign.
Oh, boy. That could make me happy with baseball. If the Yankees get screwed on this.
We can only hope.
Of course, he'll probably go to the Dodgers.
The super team.
Yeah. In other signings, Jeimer Candelario, who the Cubs picked up last year, they let him go to the Reds in division. Eduardo Rodriguez goes from the Tigers, cashes in on a good year with that team to sign with the Diamondbacks, bolsters their rotation. You guys get Max Stassi.
Who?
Catcher from the Atlanta Braves.
Oh, Guess what? I've already written the Sox off.
I guess you didn't even know about Max Stassi?
I have not followed him. I have watched.
I'm more up on the White Sox than you.
I told you last week, the last couple weeks, I have washed my hands for the Sox as long as Reinsdorf is still the owner.
I know he's not, but Rob Manfred, I hope you're listening because you've lost 2 baseball fans here over the last couple weeks with this bullshit for different reasons.
One, I've got a frickin' retarded owner who's senile beyond belief, going through dementia.
You can't use the R word. You can't.
Too bad.
Oh, wait. I'm sorry. I was thinking of a different podcast.
Yeah.
Never mind. Oh, but San Francisco, the Giants, of course. And this is another thing I want to talk about, by the way. San Francisco signs Jung-Hoo Lee from the Korean Baseball Organization for 6 years and $113 million. Is there not, and I'm not trying to say anything racist here, but the players coming over from Korea and Japan
always stay on the West Coast?
Isn't that a locational bias?
Yes, it is.
So again, you have got a system that is so screwed up. Why don't they get drafted? Why don't they have to go into a draft?
They should have to go into a draft.
Again, like the NFL. The NFL has got it right. You draft all the goddamn players.
NHL, you draft everybody. NBA, you draft.
Even if they're high school kids, they still have to go into the draft.
If you're an international, you have to go into the draft.
But somehow, in baseball, these players come over from Korea and Japan.
And they can be bought out.
Oh,
outright.
Shockingly, they want to stay on the West Coast, closer to home. Shocking.
Balls.
Cardinals send Tyler O'Neill to the Red Sox. supposedly filling in the gap they lost with Alex Verdugo going to the Yankees. And a little bit of a trivia nugget before we move on. Kansas City not only signed Seth Lugo, they spent money on Seth Lugo. I was shocked.
Who the hell's Kansas City get money?
3 years, $45 million for Seth Lugo. But, little trivia. Astound your friends and neighbors at your next party. Will Smith. Not
that Will
Smith.
Smith.
No, not that Will Smith. He's not going to... Keep your wife's name out of my mouth, bitch! Will Smith signs with the Royals. So you might as well put money down on the Royals to win the World Series right now. Why? Because let me tell you where Will Smith has pitched in the last 3 years. 2023, he pitched for the Texas Rangers. 2022, he pitched for the Houston Astros. And in 2021, he pitched for the Atlanta Braves. Yes, kids, if you're keeping track at home, he has pitched for the last 3 World Series champions.
But what do those 3 teams not have in common with the Royals? They had a quality team in each of those cities.
I don't know. I'm thinking of laying down maybe a buck or two on the Royals. The Seth Lugo thing really put me over the top here.
Yeah. There you go.
You want to talk some college soccer? Let's talk some college soccer.
That Notre Dame got embarrassed by Clemson?
They didn't get embarrassed. They lost 2-1. Now in soccer, I guess a 1-goal gap is a blowout.
They were down 2-0. Well into the second.
Yes, so Clemson beats Notre Dame in soccer.
Why are we talking soccer?
Because
Why do we even fucking care?
Because it's Notre Dame. It's
so
local.
Fucking what? It's soccer. Nobody gives a rat's
All right,
ass.
you want to talk about college basketball?
No. I don't like basketball.
You explain this to me. How does Rutgers get the number 2 and the number 3 overall recruits in basketball?
Rutgers is not
How do they do that?
School.
How do they do that? That makes no sense.
I got nothing.
They beat out Duke. They beat out North Carolina. They beat out UConn.
Kansas.
Yes.
I got nothing.
Notre Dame basketball, 4-5.
So?
My Miami Hurricanes embarrassed themselves, shit themselves this week.
Again?
What? No, wait, again? Shut up, Dave.
I thought they had a couple of bad losses.
Well, they lost to Kentucky, but that's not shit in the bed. But losing to Colorado 90-63 is bad. That's bad.
Yep.
So they dropped to the 24th slot in the AP poll. They are now 7-2. Oh, let's talk about the Blackhawks, Dave.
How bad they are?
They're still last.
Yes, they are.
9-18-1. Although
Just
Connor
lost to
Bedard
the Oilers
still looks good.
4-1.
Connor Bedard still looks good, though.
The one bright spot. I'm still not watching. There's nothing there.
But
I will
Connor
occasionally.
Bedard is the future.
Bedard is
man.
the
He
future.
is a great pick.
I've tuned in here and there to watch him skate. The rest of the team is trash. I cannot invest the time.
Are you going to invest time in LIV Golf now that Jon Rahm has
No.
jumped ship?
I still don't invest time in golf.
But Jon Rahm has now jumped ship.
$300 million to join LIV.
And, of course, that fucking hypocrite, Rory McIlroy, because he's friends with Jon Rahm, now all of a sudden says, oh, it's okay. He did what was best for his family.
Gee, and the other golfers didn't?
What a
Screw
prick.
you, Rory,
What a
you
prick.
little bitch. You hypocritical little bitch.
So now when Dave and I retire here in a couple years, we're going to just take this into account, that they are rolling back the golf balls. Have you heard this?
Yes, I have.
The USGA and the RNA, the two factions that oversee how the golf balls are made for both amateurs and the professional
Gee, how
ranks.
about we shrink the club heads back down?
That would be what I would say. I agree with you, But no, the golf balls need to be rolled back. So in 2028 for the pros, in 2030 for the amateurs, they will be limited in how they're made in terms of the distance. I believe they said about 5 yards off the tee on average.
What does it fucking matter at that point? It's stupid. It's over-regulation.
I believe that you are onto something. Where how about
drop the club heads back in size?
Yeah, don't mess with the balls. Drop the club heads back. That's always been what's boggled my mind is you look at these clubs and you go, Jesus Christ. I mean, he's got a Cadillac on the end of that shaft there.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, my God, I have, God help me, 30-year-old clubs. And my oversized driver from the time is now the size of a 5-wood.
There you go. Yep. Yeah. But no, now we got to fuck with the balls. Yeah. Not the clubs. We got to fuck with
the balls. Leave my balls alone!
That's what she said. All right. I have a Clint Eastwood Badass of the Week. And I think you'll appreciate this. My Clint Eastwood Badass of the Week is none other than Bronny James. Nope. Let me finish. All right. Let me finish, young man. Bronny James scored 4 points in his debut in the college ranks. That put him ahead of his father on the all-time NCAA scoring list.
For a James in college.
Now go ahead.
No, it's
yes.
Kudos to him for being able to come back from that heart issue and being able to play competitively again.
Yes, that's what I was going for.
But I like the tweak against
I had to do
dad.
it in the bass backwards kind of way.
You did.
Yes.
It was warranted.
So Bronny with 4 points is now ahead of his dad on the NCAA all-time scoring list. But yes, as much as people think
we're heartless
and we hate LeBron James and his entire family, absolutely.
We do not wish that type of thing on anybody.
No,
we're glad
fantastic.
Bronny is able to play again.
Absolutely fantastic. He is back and can play in any capacity. Yeah. And he's alive.
Yes, that's the big thing.
Yes. And going back to the hockey for a second, the NHL did not mention the Blues fired head coach Craig Berube, which is kind of interesting considering back in 2019, he led them to the Stanley Cup.
Hockey's a fickle sport.
Yes, a fickle mistress.
Yes. Big moment of silence in sports, the NFL. Former Tennessee Titan Frank Wycheck, part of the Music City Miracle. Unfortunate accident at home, passed away. Reportedly had fallen and hit his head and was found later by family members.
Yeah, that's a shame because I remember Frank Wycheck and he was one of the better tight ends of his era.
Yes, absolutely.
And I'm not trying to diminish him or but playing fantasy football, you tend to appreciate the tight ends more and try to look more into what they do and what they contribute.
Yeah. Typically, they're just used for blocking.
Frank Wycheck would have been a stud in fantasy football in this day and age.
Yeah. Not only could he block, but he could catch. And he was the precursor to Kelsey and all the other guys that are playing
Yep.
now.
Yep, absolutely agree. Tremendous loss to the NFL world. Now, I will admit I don't have a ton of dumbasses, and we've only got a couple minutes left, but I do have one big one. We alluded to him earlier, but I cut Dave off. Favorite target of ours, the one and only dumbass of the week, Mr. Tony Romo, who was abysmal
Even by his standards.
this last weekend with the Bills game. Just, I mean,
My God.
calling Josh Allen Josh throughout the entire game, acting like he had a man crush on him throughout the whole Kansas City Buffalo game. Saying that Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift were already married.
My God.
And then saying that the Bills were really close to getting a playoff home game. He has basically turned the entire social media community against him and Jim Nantz.
Oh
Because
my
as
God.
we've been saying, this is a fucking we told you so moment. Everybody's getting sick and tired of this Nantz and Romo act.
Romo is abysmal. He is destroying one of your better sports announcers. It's sad to see the decline of Nantz having to play to Romo.
Tied in to this idiot. Their careers are now tied together. And that people are saying he's making his little weird noises and grunts. And, well, I don't know if he's eating chicken wings in the booth. What he's doing.
He's like Beavis.
Oh, my God, he's awful. I've said this for years. I said you never should have paid him the money.
No, he's just bad.
They're committed to him through 2030.
God, what? Stupid.
You're not stupid for listening to us. Listen to the Weekend Edition.
Yep, we got a lot of stuff coming your way.
Mr. Monk's Last Case, The Exorcist Believer, Dirty Honey. That's your Uncle Dave.
That's your Uncle Kev.
Check us out Saturday morning. Otherwise, in 7 days. See you later.